please, allow me to show you something.
Before we rejoin the players for the second set of boards in the current partnerships, let's just have a look at the current scores. After 10 boards, Marian Mickelson and Jerry Stomatov are hanging on to their joint lead on 14 points each. Zia and Bertie Black still next with 12, followed by Andrew Robson, Cecilia Rimstedt on 8, and Dennis Bilder and David Gold on 6.
At table 1, we have Andrew and Dennis as north-south, playing Bertie and Jerry as east-west.
Level. Dennis Bilder south, first in hand. Very unexciting 8 count. North, third in hand with 14. Looks like a no trump to me.
The advantage of opening one no trump is that it preempts out the majors. Slight disadvantage is that you may play a 5-2 major fit if partner does a transfer, and maybe you're better off in a minor. But I think that the preemptive value is a big plus, so I open one no trump.
Neither 15 to 17 nor balanced.
Which makes it perfect for a strong no trump. Well, a club creates some problems.
Yeah, a club would allow East to make an easy takeout double, and they would find their spade fit. And
would you overcall 2 clubs for the majors here, or is it a bit
could,
wild?
On the grounds that you'd better do something. I mean, what you really don't want to happen is you go one no trump or pass, and you have to lead from that.
Oh, that is yes, I would not be happy.
It would be an absolute nightmare.
Okay, so 2 clubs Damon asking about any major suit holdings from north. 2 diamonds, I'm sorry partner. 2 no trumps, invitational, and north thinks that his hand is not maximum for 15-17, which seems about right.
He's right about that bit, yeah.
And I do not envy you.
Yeah, he's not
Poor
on
East. That is not a very nice lead.
It all sounded happy. The opponents were heading for a major suit because the guy bid Stayman and he had both of those covered, but now instead of being on lead to 1 no trump, you're on lead to 2 no trump.
I did suggest bidding 2 clubs.
That would have worked
might solve your problem.
Spectacularly well. So well done for North, whose 1 no trump opening has made life a lot difficult for East-West. If it opened a club, it would have been the world's most obvious takeout double. And
well, as we can see, East-West can actually make quite a few tricks in spades. Having a 5-4 fit in spades, everything being
King of Hearts on side,
very friendly.
Diamonds on side, he'd lose a club and a diamond.
Spade coming down.
Yeah. Might even make game.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's with combined 18 points.
He was hoping to hit the major that South didn't have. As you can see by leading a heart, he's hit the major South does have. The defenders could have grabbed 5 spade tricks and 2 heart tricks in short order and beaten this 2, but that's the best they could do.
So, he decided to lead a low heart. Jack of hearts held the trick, and now the Clare is going to run a few clubs, all of them probably, seeing what defense will discard. They will definitely be able to get their spade holdings across, so once you let defense in, they will cash a lot of tricks. Would you try and take a diamond finesse for 8? Or would you just cash 7 and collect your minus 50, knowing that East-West can probably make at least 2, if not 4 spades?
I would think when a guy led a heart from ace-queen and some little ones that he had a pretty desperate hand to lead from. Maybe if he had 4 little diamonds or 4 diamonds to the jack or something, he would have preferred that. Leading away from an ace-queen against a no trump part score is things that experts rarely do.
He would be quite happy to lead away from 4 low, say, if he had.
Sure, I mean he doesn't know that East hasn't made a normal lead from a 5-card suit, but East took an awful lot of time to find the lead, and he didn't lead it like a man with ace queen 5th who was just leading 4,000 of his longest. So Robson will have a pretty shrewd idea of what's going on and why Andrew Black finally came up with that lead. On the other hand, if he finesses and makes 2 no trump, that'll obviously be a huge position. If he goes 2 down, he'll think, well, hey, they can score 110 or 140 in spades anyway, so this extra under trick, it may not matter.
Yeah, he might try for it. He definitely has 6 tricks, which is 2 down on top, so he might as well try for a finesse to
but
make.
Thinking it doesn't really matter whether I make 6 or 7, but 8 is something special.
essentially I've got to decide whether to take the diamond finesse. And the discarding is such that East has thrown away the 5 and then the 3 of diamonds. I am thinking that probably East does hold the king of diamonds. So there is a part of me that wants to just play a diamond to the ace after playing my 5 rounds of clubs and concede 1 down. But I'm thinking that if East does hold the king of diamonds, then they're bound to be making a spade contract. 4 spades is going to make. And so I'm going to win the board almost certainly if I take a losing finesse and I go 2 down instead of 1 down. But if the down finesse is onside, maybe they're not necessarily making 4 spades, and I better therefore make my 2 no trumps.
As I say, it probably doesn't make a lot of difference to him whether he goes 2 down or 1 down, but if he can make it, then he'll be proof against maybe some accident at the other table where his teammate somehow went minus.
There we go.
Well, the defenders have enough information now to...
I'm pretty sure they can cash out
the
the rest of the tricks. So there will be 2 no trumps by North, 2 down, and 100 points for East-West. When they cash out all the rest of the tricks. Alright, here we go. Jerry's getting ready to claim. Everything.
Well, Jerry's still got a diamond left, so the defenders need to get their hearts going so that he can throw his 2 diamonds away, but Andrew Blake's done that.
Yeah. Alright, here we go.
2 down, who knows?
2 down.
2 no trump minus 2 by North there, and a score of minus 100 for North-South. Let's see what happens at the other table, where we have Cecilia and David as North-South, and Zia and Marion as East-West.
Board 11. Level South has nothing to say. West, neither. And will North open a no trump like they did at the other table?
I don't think this North will, to be honest with you.
Well, 15 to 17 points balanced.
Yeah, but you'd like to be one of those.
Yeah, she decided to open a club.
It's going to be terrible because Zia's
Now
easily
Zia
into the
can
auction
get
with
in.
the double.
Had they had on the right pass, they would certainly bid 1 heart and investigate the major suit fit. Once they double, it's less likely we have a heart fit, and I'm a little bit worried about their spade fit as well. And my hearts are not great. So my style is to raise clubs. I like to bid where I live, so I bid 3 clubs just to block them a bit.
Yeah, South with a preemptive 3 clubs.
Okay, still only have 5 points, and 2 little clubs is not very promising, but I do have a very good 5-card suit, so I have to bid something. I'll bid 3 spades and hope Zia gives me some leeway for stretching here.
Mind you, 3 clubs might have been too high for some people, but King Jack 10-9, 5th of spades, and Jack 10-9 of diamonds when partner showed short clubs. 3 spades is an overbid by about a trick, but you kind of have to do it.
If partner has a lot of shape, it might be right to bid 5 clubs. Doesn't really look like it. I have 2 little spades and king and 1 heart. Looks like a lot of losers. But I bid 4 clubs to give partner the option. They are surely gonna bid 4 spades.
Okay, well, I guess, yeah, I had an obvious raise to 4. I mean, and whatever his partner was overbidding, he could hardly stay out once partner volunteered some number of spades. Normal lead is king of clubs, and it's a question of whether declarer makes 10 tricks or 11. Not that it matters, because the score at the other table was only 100 for East-West after Robson's 1 no trump opening stole the pot, because East was unwilling to come in with the bid that showed the majors. It's possible that he didn't remember that he could. Or that he just decided not to with 4-4 because it's facing a past partner. That's maybe a bit dangerous. But these days, you know, our experience shows us that if the opposition open 1 no trump and you don't do something about it, you generally score poorly, especially when they're not vulnerable. The reasons for that are that, you know, say they go 2 down, you get 100, but if you made 8 tricks in no trumps, you could have made 120 yourself if you played that. And if you had a fit, you could make something. If they make, again, it's not great because you could have lost 50 instead of 90 or 100 instead of 120. So people move heaven and earth to get non-vulnerable opponents out of 1 no trump. And East might well have risked it here.
Yeah, and a 4-4-4-1 is quite a good holding, so
yeah,
you might consider bidding
if partner
it.
hasn't got a fit for the majors, maybe you can wangle out into some diamonds. What you really don't want to hear is 2 clubs and everybody pass because partner's got 6 little clubs and nothing else.
Oh well,
but,
we've seen that happen before.
Well,
so.
worse things happen at sea.
I decided to play the Jack of clubs suit preference, asking for a heart simply because I know a heart is safe.
My partner plays the jack. For a lot of people, we suit preference here when there's a stiffened dummy. I wonder if he's trying to signal for heart here. I wonder why he didn't overtake the king of clubs. If he's trying to make a signal that he has singleton or void and diamond. If he has singleton diamond, he would surely overtake the club and play back a diamond. Could it be void and diamonds? No, it looks like that would be way too many hearts and club heads. So playing a heart here might help the player because he needs to get to her hand a couple of times to play diamonds up and also take the heart finesse. I don't want to help her with that, so I think I go for a spade.
Well, that's not going to hurt. Switching to a spade sort of clears up the last vestiges of a problem there and gives the player a quick entry to her hand to play like a heart or a diamond to take a finesse.
Draw trumps, one finesse, come back to hand, take another finesse. And she will very quickly see that both heart and diamond positions are very favorable. This will roll in quite comfortably.
Sure, I mean, it doesn't matter whether she makes 10 or 11, but she doesn't know that. For all she knows, the contract's the same at the other table, so she has to
try
take
and
as
make
many
11.
as she can. She doesn't know that they were in 2 no trump at the other table down 2 for 100, so she can do anything except
Relax
go down
and take her 10.
and she'll be all right.
Drawing the last 2 trumps. Everything breaks. All is good. Easy game. Jack of diamonds, ace. Now North is marked with the queen, so...
Best just to play a club. But the defender can see the positions. Pretty hopeless. I mean, when North didn't switch to a heart at the second trick, she pretty much marked herself with the king, otherwise the heart switch would have been fairly clear.
Yeah.
And now, as you say, the can be pretty sure the queen of diamonds is onside as well, because
otherwise Nord would dug the jack and let her partner win the queen. So she's marked with the king of hearts, ace, queen of diamonds. And I think Marion will be done with this board fairly quickly. Yeah.
Okay, now hopefully 8 of diamonds on the table.
So there was 11 tricks and plus 450 for Marion and Zia, which wins the board.
So that's 4 spades plus 1 by West and a score of minus 450 for North-South, compared with minus 100 at the other table. That's a victory for Andrew and Dennis as the higher scoring North-South pair, and also for Zia and Marion as the higher scoring East-West pair, so 2 points each for them. We'll head back to table 1 in a minute, but first, a quick request. New Tricks is a charitable organization, and we need your help in order to continue bringing you more episodes of this tournament series, as well as to make our tutorial videos for the next generation of bridge players. There are 3 ways that you can help us. 1. Click the like button on YouTube. This increases the likelihood that YouTube will recommend our videos to other users, which makes a massive difference, helping us to reach new players. 2. Get notifications of our videos. This doesn't just help you keep up to date with our latest uploads, it also helps increase our visibility with other YouTube users. And don't worry, subscribing to channel notifications is completely free. But if you want to help us financially, there's 3. Make a one-off donation via our GoFundMe page. We're an entirely not-for-profit organization, and we need funds to continue our work, not just producing these videos, but also bringing new players into the game, both in schools and here on YouTube. Thank you for your support. And now, let's go back to table 1. Jerry, first in hand at favorable.
I'm again faced with a decision as to whether to open 1 no trump. So the danger of opening 1 spade is that if my partner responds 1 no trump, could have up to a good 11, I'm committing myself and having to pass 1 no trump, and we may miss a game. The main disadvantage of opening 1 no trump is missing a 5-3 spade fit and playing potentially a 5-2 heart fit if my partner does a transfer. Another plus of opening 1 spade is if the auction becomes competitive, it's very important that I show my 5-card spade suit. So I open 1 spade.
So 1 spade, solid. 2 clubs, game forcing. Doesn't have to be clubs. It could be a balanced hand and he's just using clubs to show a game forcing hand.
Well, his partner's raised him on only 3, so, I mean, that's the normal thing to do because all of North's hand that isn't spades is clubs. He doesn't
really want to bid 2 no trumps.
No, he doesn't want to play from his side.
Yeah.
Now West has another one of those opening leads.
They have bid and raised clubs, although South's club suit doesn't have to be natural. And leading away from Jack to 4 is a nightmare anyway.
North bid spades, so leading one of
You
those.
don't want to lead a spade and help with that.
But a heart from 3 to the Queen or a diamond from Jack and 1. Not
they
fun.
have some
Not fun.
very difficult lead positions here. You would sort of probably want to lead a heart, although since South on your right bid no trumps, you know that they should have the red suit stoppers. So leading away from Queen 9/3 is not very appealing.
You might just lead a spade anyway on the grounds that it's likely to be declared as short
2
as
of
suit.
clubs. Well, that would definitely solve the club position for declarer if he runs it round to the 10, or the 8 in this case.
At least he hasn't got a diamond lead, which he wouldn't fancy much at all. So he thinks he's ahead of the situation. The Jack of Diamonds, I think, would have been, or maybe even a low one, would have been West's most effective choice. But I mean, leading doubleton jacks against 3 no trumps, it can work sometimes, but it's not a thing you should make a habit of.
He leads a club, a suit that me and my partner has bid and supported. I don't think he would do that from Jack 4th, Jack 9 4th. That would surely just give away a trick in our main suit. So he must have something like 3 small and he has nothing he wants to lead from. He has probably 4 spades with 10-9, ace 10-9, something like this. So he's sure we can't run too many spade tricks. And he's decided to go passive. Looks like that. See, if I play low from dummy, I might have some communication problems later, because if I play low, I win the 10, play a spade to the king, and continue the queen of spades. They will win and play a diamond. Now they have taken one of my interests to my hand. I gotta cast my clubs, cast my spade, because that's the last time I get to dummy, and I have to play a heart and guess the hearts. If I miss guess the hearts, I'm in a pretty bad spot. Okay, I think I'm just gonna untangle the hand a little bit and win the ace of clubs, because Jerry cannot have Jack 4th, can he really?
Well, as I say, Declare is having difficulty believing that it's right to. Well, he did
here
play
we go,
the ace,
yeah,
and he's
bet
trying
the
to keep
ace.
his communications more fluid. It looks as though that's...
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons for doing that is if he's going to play on hearts now, he wants to make it easier if West gets in somehow to continue clubs.
Well, he's probably thinking the one holding West doesn't have is Jack to 4.
Yes, I would...
So even if clubs break 4-1 the other way, he can still pick that up on his own.
Anyway, tried the Jack of Hearts, which East pounced on with the ace. It was a slightly strange move.
Well, Declare now might think that East has the ace and the queen.
Yep.
So might even try and finesse later. That would be unsuccessful. Spade to the king, of course, ducked. Setting up spades.
Well, he can set up 2 spade tricks, whether he tries to set up a 3rd or a 4th or whatever.
He can try.
Okay, West won the 2nd spade. And now, well, I mean, he may have been lured into continuing clubs, which would be great for Declarer. He's got his red suit entries to his hand. West's going to find it hard to believe that Declarer didn't let the club go round to the 10 if he started with Queen 10 to 4 or 5.
Yeah, but if he continues the club, Declarer might pick it up.
So West might just decide to clear his spade trick, and he's got the other suits under control. At least he doesn't know about the diamonds, but he can expect his partner has
And
those.
there's still a possibility that Declarer will finessing hearts at some point.
Okay, so West decided he would set up his spades. That gives Declarer the option of setting up Dummy's 5th spade, which would certainly give him at least 3 tricks in spades, 3 in clubs is 6, the ace king of diamonds 8 and the king of hearts 9. That would give him 9 tricks and his contract, with maybe some more to come later on in the day. To do that, of course, he needs to leave the king of clubs in the dummy. Then when West wins and plays, say, a club, Declare if he's still on the path will go up with the king and cash the spade. West won't be under pressure then, and emerge with 9 tricks. But, as I say, Declare is probably still under the impression that East has the Queen of Hearts. Because why would you dive in with the ace when the jack was let off the dummy if you didn't have ace queen?
Yeah.
Especially, when it's not a question of returning partner suit to keep his entries. He dived in with the ace and then shifted to a diamond with 10-9 in the dummy, which looked a bit dangerous. 10-8, sorry. So, as I say, he'll be inclined to seriously place east with the heart king and look for a trick that way.
Jack of diamonds. I think by this time, defense had managed to get enough information across to not do anything silly.
I played the queen of clubs. So he's really just banking on the heart finesse. We played a club to the king and cashed off the last spade, pitched a diamond. What would he have had in the ending? Would West have been squeezed? He would, but only down to the blank. Yeah, he might have done that. Anyway, he didn't. He relied on the heart finesse, which he was confident all along was right, but it wasn't. And so he took his 9 tricks and he made his contract and...
Plus 600 for
600,
North-South.
yep. So, 3-no trump making by South is a score of 600 to North-South. Seems likely North-South will find their way to the same contract, but will they make the same number of tricks?
North will open either a spade or... I'm still rooting for a no trump. Everyone wants... Come on, I like a good unbalanced, inappropriate no trump.
Well, no trump is sick. It's not sick, but I mean, if the minus, if the
Well, it's not the right bet.
If the long suit were clubs or diamonds or even hearts, but spades, spades is spades.
We can assume the bidding will be the same or similar to what happened at the other table. Will she bid either? Yeah, 2 spades.
Yeah, I think she doesn't want to bid no trump for the same reason. She wants partner to end up playing in no trump. So she stresses her spades rather than raise clubs, which is fine. Now she can support clubs and she's shown her hand.
And David Gold bids 3 no trumps.
This is not a very nice lead for me. Normally, I like to lead one of my best suits, but spades have been bit on my left, and clubs have been bit both on my left and my right, and so what shall I lead? Shall I lead a heart from Queen 9/3? I mean, a diamond from Jack and 1 is not really possible. Oh well, I think I'll lead a heart, because at least it's my best holding in an unbid suit.
So they're in the same contract as the other table. So now it comes down to whether David Gold makes 9 or 10 tricks. Marion had that horrible hand to lead from, and she decided to lead a low heart away from Queen 3rd.
Yeah, certainly second choice. I mean, a club that was chosen at the other table would have been, and the Jack of Diamonds pretty hairy. I still think there's something to be said for a medium spade, but if that runs around to something like Declare's Singleton Jack, you don't want that to happen, so... A heart is perfectly reasonable. Her better unbid suit.
2 rounds of hearts.
Well, now Declare's got a couple of heart tricks in the bank to go with the 2 spades he can set up, the 3 clubs he can take, and 2 diamonds. So he's now got a certain 9 tricks and good prospects of a 10th, because even though the clubs don't break, West is going to be in charge of a lot of black cards. If, for example, Declare plays a spade to the king now, then continues to drive out the spade, West should probably duck a second round of spades. It won't necessarily save her from an eventual squeeze, end play kind of thing.
Yeah, Queen of Spades. Will she duck that? No.
Apparently not, and now...
This might cause some trouble.
Well, even though the clubs, as I say, don't break, if she plays a spade back to set up her spade winner, she'll never get it. Because you can see what happens when Declare plays a diamond to his hand and cashes the king of diamonds and the 10 of hearts. What is West supposed to discard? If she discards a spade, dummy's last spade is good. If she discards a club, all Declare's clubs are good.
It's important at this point not just to play ace of clubs, king of clubs, because if they go 4-1, I've got no way of recovery. So I play diamond to the ace, cash the king of diamonds, Jack on the left, cash my 4th heart, and now the hand on the left had the fourth spade and the fourth club. And they had to let one of them go.
Rather more straightforward play than the
Nicely played.
backwards and forwards stuff at the other two. 630 for David Goll and a win on the board.
So an extra trick here, 3 no trumps plus 1 by South, a score of 630, and victory for Cecilia and David this time, as the higher scoring North-South pair, and for Bertie and Jerry as the higher scoring East-West. 2 points to each of those 4. Let's see where that puts everybody on the leaderboard.
After 12 boards, still no shifting. Marion and Jerry from the front, they both have 16 points. Zia and Bertie are still hot on their heels with 14 each. Andrew and Cecilia on 10, and David and Dennis on 8.
A brief chat with one of our leaders now, before we close this episode. As always, we would like to remind you about donations via the link in the description below. The generosity of our viewers that makes it possible for us to bring these videos to you.
So Marion, you're an international player who's played for the Netherlands and now for Sweden as well. Can you tell me a little bit about why you've moved from the Netherlands and what it's like to play for 2 different countries?
Well, actually, I have to correct you. I haven't played for Sweden yet.
Ah, okay.
Hopefully that will happen in the future. So I'm from the Netherlands. I've lived there until about 7 years ago. I moved to Sweden. I live in Stockholm nowadays. So I'm together with a Swedish bridge player, Johan Uppmark. And that's why I moved to Stockholm. And in the beginning, I continued to play for the Netherlands. In the Dutch women's team, we've been pretty successful, and I had a very nice partnership, which I was happy with, but it's kind of hard to continue to play with somebody if you don't live in the same country.
Yeah,
you don't really
sure.
get a lot of practice. It's very hard to, just get some regular bridge going on. So I've decided to switch partnerships. I have a Swedish partner now, and it just makes more sense now to start to play for Sweden. And in that, basically together, I have also changed because I was playing with a female partner, playing for the Dutch women's team, and now I have a male partner. So obviously I cannot play for the Swedish women's team with him. So hopefully we will soon make our appearance in the Swedish Open team.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. So I know that the Netherlands has amazing support for their bridge players, and they give a lot more funding than other countries, and they have an amazing youth program. Can you tell us a bit about how the Netherlands helps its players out?
Well, in the Netherlands, the Dutch Federation gets support from the Olympic Committee. So they get I don't know exactly how much, but they get a large funding for both the federation in general, but also for their national teams. They get much more support than, for instance, the Swedish Federation. Also, it is, I think, one of the biggest federations in the world. You might not think that because the Netherlands is not such a big country, but they have a huge amount of members. So the Dutch Federation is in a very luxurious position in that matter. They have for instance, the Dutch Open team has trainings on a very regular basis with their own trainer who has prepared hands, and I mean, they are in a luxury position that they can offer training programs to their teams that other countries cannot do.
Well, I think other countries could learn from that. I mean, we can see how well the Netherlands has done at international level in every category pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, they are doing amazing, but they also have more funding than other countries. Like, for instance, if I compare the budget from the Dutch teams to the Swedish teams, I mean, there is no way that the Swedish Federation can come up with the same program because nobody is able to pay that. So, I mean, there is quite a big difference, but I mean, I do agree that many countries can learn something from how the Dutch are approaching it. And I think nowadays they also are teaching bridge in schools. I mean, not standard, but in some schools. And there are championships for schools bridge. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think they're doing quite well.
Okay, great. And you said that before you played in the women's game, when you had a female partner, and now that you're going to try and play in the open game. Do you think that this distinction should exist? Do you think there should be separate events?
I think it's fine with separate events, but I do think that really the top female players would rather play in the open. It's a much tougher competition, and if I just look at my own perspective, I probably got a little bit lazy from playing in the women's bridge, because even if I wouldn't try my best or not train as much, we would often still do pretty well.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have to, I mean, of course, you still try your best and do your best, but we didn't really do the regular training that, for instance, the Dutch Open team does, and still we would get selected every time, and we would be like probably the best pair in the Dutch women team, and we often got a lot of medals. So I did get a little bit lazy. It's both nice, but also not. Like, it's nice to be comfortable somewhere,
Sure.
but it's also nice to challenge yourself and do better. And it felt like I needed that challenge.
Do you have any advice for young aspiring female bridge players?
I think they should just not only focus on the women bridge. And I think that's actually something that maybe they didn't have in mind themselves, but also something that's kind of taught to them by the other people.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I played in the Dutch junior team as well, so not just the female junior team, but like the open junior team.
Yeah.
And I think the people that were in the team were all like quite the same level. And they would always ask the guys like, oh, do you want to be in the open team? And then they would ask me, oh, do you want to be in the women team? And I'm like, why are you asking that? Am I not good enough for the open team? But nobody would even think about the possibility. They would just assume that I wanted to play in the women team. I think that is not just for me, but for many young female players. I think it could be an advantage because I got to play in a women team at a point where I would not have been even close to getting selected for the open team, and I got to get a lot of experience and travel and get to go to championships. So both it was very nice, but I think it's also sometimes a little bit diminishing to the female players. Like, don't aim for the best, just...
Yeah, I understand.
So
that.
I think they should not just focus on the women bridge. That's my advice. Like, go with the group, go with the guys, enjoy it,
Yeah,
have
and,
a good time.
Hopefully things will change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm against women bridge. It just, yeah, I think it's both nice and also a disadvantage. It has, yeah, advantage
Double-edged
and
sword,
disadvantage, yeah.
Okay, and so you've moved to Sweden. Have you
Yeah.
picked up any Swedish?
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty good in Swedish nowadays. In Sweden, the Swedish lessons are for free for immigrants. And I've done that for about half a year, every day when I was at home. And I had a old professor that was teaching me. He was a professor in theology and linguistics. And he was retired and he just wanted to teach something. And I thought it was pretty cool. He came with these phrases every day that you had to first translate every single word, and then you had to think about what it meant. And for me, this was really a good way of learning, not just reading the book, because that I think is a little bit boring.
Yeah.
I like to have to think about something and then try to figure it out myself. And actually, the biggest hurdle was to try and actually speak Swedish. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I didn't like to start speaking Swedish in the beginning. I knew I would make a lot of mistakes and I would feel silly, which actually that is silly. Because obviously I am not as good in Swedish as people who are born in Sweden. Yeah. So when I kind of got over that hurdle, I've gotten a lot better. And probably my Swedish is better than my English nowadays.
Wow.
So
The Dutch are really good at learning languages, it seems.
Well, it's a bit of a difference. Like with Dutch, you don't get anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
English is a little bit easier.
The English are a bit lazy about learning
Yeah.
other languages.
So I've had a lot of languages at school, and also I think Dutch and Swedish are relatively similar. You wouldn't think that, but they both have a lot of connections with German, for instance, and a lot of words have the same origin, and some of the grammar is similar. So I think the Dutch had quite an edge learning Swedish if I compare to people from other countries in my group.
You've had a lot of superstar partners. Can you tell us a little bit about your partnership with Zia?
Yeah, well, Zia for sure is the superstar of the superstar for my partnerships. We've played a bit on and off for, I think, like 5 years now. We play a couple tournaments a year, but never really. He was never my main partner, and neither was I his. But it's always a true pleasure playing with Zia. I mean, there's always happening so much, and in general, we've been doing very well. We've won quite a couple of events together, and I think that we play very well together. Also, I think one thing is very good, that we play regular, but not too much.
Sure. can imagine
Because
it's a bit much to take sometimes.
Yeah, and there are quite a few things that we don't really agree on, and then if you only play a couple of times, then you're like, okay, it doesn't matter, we both have our own opinion. But if we would play full time together, then I think those things might cause fractions.
Okay. Well,
But I mean, I love playing with Zia. We might play again next month. We'll see. It's always fun.
thanks very much for coming to speak to me today.
Okay, well, it was my pleasure. Thank you.
Please, allow me to show you something.